What the duck is up, everyone? Thank you for joining us for another episode of Duck Takes. As always, with me, my co-host Garrett. How you doing, Garrett?
Doing great. How is everybody today?
Well,
We're fantastic.
All right.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, let's
get to the intro. My intro.
All right.
I was gonna say, with great power does come great podcast ability, because we do have the Escape Pod podcast with us today.
What up,
Andrew and Alex?
Everybody.
Thank you so much for joining with us. Surprisingly, we've been on your guys' podcast twice. We've had Andrew on our podcast, but we've never had the both of you, and I don't know how. So
yeah, I mean,
welcome.
We've only been in Orlando together once.
Yeah.
We didn't have time that time, so
I know it's a shame.
But
now we're here to talk about what we've been calling peak.
I'm here to be the resident Daredevil born again glazer, so I've taken that title.
It's an important role.
Yeah,
we need
it is.
that role everywhere. Every MCU project has to be somebody's favorite.
Sure, I'll take that. I'll take it.
Yeah. My glazing has died down a little bit. We'll get into that.
Sure.
But hey, I was glazing very much. I was very much glazing in the beginning when because me and Andrew, we all got to see this premiere together. So let's talk about that. I mean, we got to see this first 2 episodes together in New York. That was me and Garrett's first premiere, and just like how special that was for our first premiere being not only something awesome that we love, but Marvel, and not to mention like with a lot of people that we love as well, with you guys, Alex Coleman, George, like so many people that night. It was just a fantastic night. Now I know in terms of Alex's feelings on those first 2 episodes, it may have not have been as amazing for the rest of us, but what a night that was.
I was just about to say, let's appreciate this full circle moment right here. We got to do that premiere together. Here we are at the finale doing this recording together. I love it.
I love it. And Blake and I talked about this because we were there for the whole weekend, and we were there with a bunch of British people that we did not know. And we were talking about like, this would have sucked a lot more. Like, it still would have been fun, but it's like, it was infinitely better because like we knew each other. We got to hang out. So I'm so glad y'all got to come.
Yeah, no, it was. I confirmed that weekend that British people are louder than Americans. They always say Americans are loud and annoying, but
the obnoxiousness level was quite high.
Do you think it might have just been? Do you think it just might have been because they were also content creators?
Yeah, I don't know if I mean, content creators in general are more obnoxious than normal human beings. So I don't know if it was more of a British thing or of a content creator thing.
Like they must have.
There are plenty of obnoxious United States content creators that I've seen. So.
Yeah. They must have really made an impression on you guys.
Bro, the first thing we
not let us go.
The first thing we do is we go to Disney headquarters in New York and go to a theater to watch the show. And the first thing they do is get up on stage and start like humping the stage and like grinding.
Yeah.
Like that's the first thing. And they were like, yo, and they were like filming each other.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah.
And Blake and I were just like,
wow.
I really was about to say, you guys don't think you're overselling this.
No,
that's
absolutely
horrible.
No, they start first thing, Disney headquarters, Disney of all headquarters, first of all, and y'all start. Now, I think a lot of them were dancing content creators, but like, granted, you're twerking on Disney headquarters. Like, we're about to go watch the first 2 episodes of Daredevil before anyone.
Like, didn't ask, like just went up there and started like doing that thing where they're like on the ground.
Weird.
Yeah. Blake and I were just like,
yeah, it's a strange way to deal with your excitement for Daredevil.
So forgive me for my ignorance in this question, but I really have no idea what Garrett thought about this show. For whatever reason, all the Duck Takes content that's been on my For You page lately has just been guess the movie by its tagline, and I've been loving those videos so much. I guess they're not showing me any of y'all's reviews. So Blake, Garrett, I really have no idea what you thought about this show. If you don't mind just catching me up to speed, what did you think about this show throughout? Were you as high on it? Certainly not as high on it as the gentleman to my right, but were you like super high on it? Were you like in the middle? Where were you at with this show throughout it coming out?
Definitely more positive than negative. Like I thoroughly enjoyed this entire show. Obviously there was like a couple episodes where I feel like they took it down a notch, like it wasn't quite as good. And you can kind of feel like, cause you know how they had to reshoot this entire thing and they totally changed the direction. I feel like you can feel those episodes where they kept it from their previous recording, and then you can feel where they, redid it. But I mean, overall, though, I feel like they kept the intensity of the Netflix show. They obviously kept the gruesomeness as we saw in that last episode. And yeah, it was just overall good time. I don't think it quite reaches the heights of the Netflix series, but still very good.
So wait, so what did y'all give the season as a whole out of 10?
I go to 7.
9.5.
7 and 9.5.
Wow. That's pretty drastic difference, honestly.
That is pretty drastic. And Garrett, what did you give it out of 10?
I was feeling like an 8.7, like high 8s.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. I think I gave it 8.5, 8.
Yeah,
I gave the finale 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I gave the finale like an 8.5. And we did a segment on our Patreon episode where we like read comments from people and the range of people who it's not as good as the original. They changed too much. They didn't like the rewrites or the original, and some of the pacing problems and all that, and the misuse of Muse and the finale and all that. So the negatives and the positive people who are like closer to me, or it's a 9, 9.5, 10 out of 10. Everyone seemed to be in between like 6 to the 9 range.
Yeah.
And then it was just like everyone kind of agrees that there are some problems with the show. It's just like how much those problems are going to bother you will bump you from like a 6 to a 9.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, Alex, because I know a big issue in the beginning of this season was how they were handling Kingpin. Did that sort of alleviate as the season started to progress?
Yeah, of course. In a way that Andrew pointed out on our review of the show, and he brought up a great point of, do I think I would have enjoyed the series more if I had seen it all in one day rather week to week? Because so many of my problems, one of my biggest problems going into the show after the first 2 episodes was the Kingpin therapy. As Andrew pointed out, I mean, as soon as I saw Adam in a cage and he's beating the shit out of him and everything like that, I was like, okay, like here we go. Like this is what I wanted. I like this. And that problem did alleviate. I did tell him on that episode, and I will reiterate to you guys that I think I would have disliked this show way more if I had seen it all in one day, rather than the week to week, even though that problem and a couple other problems of mine would have been solved. I think that greater problems would have arose. But yeah, I felt that overall, I like what they did with Kingpin in this show.
Yeah.
Your whole reasoning for not liking the therapy, you just felt that was very out of character for Kingpin. All right. I do disagree with you on that one, honestly, though, because I feel like, when it comes to Vanessa, like, bro, he's always been Vanessa's lapdog. Like, he'll do anything for Vanessa. It doesn't really matter what it is. Clearly, he wasn't totally okay with the cheating, as we saw with Adam. But, but he at least made the appearance that he was trying to fix things in the relationship like
Andrew had no problem with the therapy from day one. And honestly, I respect him for that. But I do feel like a lot of people, if they never had anything with Adam, I think a lot of people would have had a problem with it. Yes, I was wrong. And I will say that. I'm wrong all the time. I will say when I'm wrong. Yes, I was wrong because obviously he is beating the shit out of Adam. But the visual of him sitting there as he knows that his wife Vanessa cheated on him, and she's like, do not kill him, and he's like, I won't, and then is going to therapy to repair their marriage. That visual combined with those lines is what I didn't like, because as you guys just pointed out, something that Kingpin is consistently with Vanessa, yes, he's her lapdog, he's also always very honest with her when she asks him to be honest. So I took it as face value, which, yes, mistake on my part, but it was in character for Kingpin to be like, yes, I will not kill him. And obviously he didn't kill him. He was honest with her.
Being very literal about that.
Let her kill him.
Hang on. Actually, here's a question now I'm thinking about it. Do you think maybe the therapy part wasn't so much for them really actually needing to go to therapy? Because we see, as in the final episode in the finale, that they use Heather to make her the head of some department of their marriage. And they clearly, she's a very popular therapist. She has published books about the mask and the vigilantes. Do you think they were actually maybe just using her, not so much for the therapy's sake of Fisk and Vanessa, but just to get her in charge of their department?
I think it's layered. I mean, I that's one of the reasons I like the first 2 episodes, because it was setting up all these like interesting layers of Matt meeting this therapist, and then the Vanessa thing happening with Kingpin, but then him also her turning by the end of the season was a great little twist and little character development for her. I loved her the first 6-7 episodes, and then she sucked at the end, you know what I mean? But then also another layer of it being like Kingpin always is working something and has all these things in the background, so he probably knew that his little handyman guy showed up at Matt's apartment to hand her something. He's like, how did you know she was here? It's because Kingpin knew all along. So I think there's a lot of reasons why the couples therapy was like interesting, and even though it wasn't like necessarily needed for them, or it didn't stay around. Like they went to couples therapy for like 2 episodes.
That was a very clever way of keeping tabs on Matt with the therapy, because there is that whole, there's the whole client privilege thing. Like, bro, she would not budge on whether or not she had Fisk as a client.
Yep.
And that, so she couldn't disclose anything to Matt, and all the while, he could just keep tabs on him.
Yep.
And have somebody that he could hurt that's close to Matt. Like it all worked out in Kingpin's favor for that.
Yep.
Do we think this is the scariest that Kingpin has ever been?
No.
Oh.
No. The violence is not something that makes somebody scary when you have scenes like the scenes in season 3 that he isn't even present for. For example, that the FBI officer, the female FBI officer, the event that happens in her house, where the lawyer comes in with the recording, and they obviously frame Nadeem for the killing of the other FBI member. And like that's Wilson Fisk isn't even in that scene, and yet you feel his presence. And because I personally cared about Agent Nadeem so much more than I care about any of the characters in this show,
absolutely,
I'm so much more fearful for them. And so I think for me, season 3 is the scariest he's ever been. And then I think second place is season 1. You got to consider one of the most gruesome deaths in the entire show is somebody saying the name Wilson Fisk and then stabbing his face on a guard gate in episode 4 or 5 of season 1. After the entire season 1, all you know about Fisk is Wesley and how scary and intimidating and also charismatic Wesley is playing it. So no, I would say that this is the 3rd most scary that Kingpin has been.
Wow.
I guess it depends on like how you look at it though, because obviously yes, like everybody was in fear for their life at even mentioning Fisk's name in season 1 and stuff like that. But this is the most like, I feel like this is the most power that we've seen him have, and I feel like that's the scary part, because like he literally has control over everything in New York right now. Like at the snap of his fingers, he could completely tear you down. And I think that's the scary part of what we're seeing now.
Yeah, I think that's a great argument from him. The whole first season where, that death, I still like when I first saw that, or that guy did that, was crazy. And the car door thing. And then in season 3, like all the stuff he's doing with the FBI. I agree. Yeah. So good argument there. But yeah, to your point, I think the argument of him having the power of the underground and the mayorship, and then like also like all in that last episode or the last couple episodes, we get his people, even though he's not in the room, Daniel threatening the whole council, and then him just aura walking with his wife through a warehouse full of cages of his enemies. And he literally rips the face off of the police commissioner. And now he shut down the entire power to all of New York and just sent out his literal army to just murder who he wants. Like, that's all pretty scary.
Yeah. No, he's never had like a militia like that he could just,
and now he has like a little state, a little free state of warehouses where he's just got guards and like no body cam police officers.
What was your guys' reaction to that scene when he killed the police commissioner?
I posted my reaction. I mean, I was, because I haven't read a lot of comics. I don't know a lot about specifics in the comics, but one panel or comic that I do know about is where Kingpin has done that in the past, where someone was like trying to threaten him or like not do what he said basically. And in a room full of people, he puts a Spider-Man mask over a guy's head and just crushes the head.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I was like, oh shoot, this is what we're doing. So I thought the head was going to crush, but then it like rips open. So I was pumped.
Well, it's funny enough, an old tweet of mine popped up because someone liked it recently after the finale. And I was like, that's weird. Why would someone do that? And I go to the tweet and I quoted a tweet from Discussing Film all the way back in August of 2024 last year. And the tweet was, Vincent D'Onofrio says Daredevil Born Again will go much further with the violence in the Netflix series. Quote, there's one thing in particular that my character does that I can't believe made it into the cut. And I quoted that in August and I said, I'm not falling for this again after what we saw from Echo's TV MA rating. And then I saw that scene and I was like, oh, that's what he meant. So that was definitely a treat. Daniel was a nice treat as well, in my opinion, in this season as well.
Yeah.
Michael Gandolfini pulling a little, soprano.
Yeah. No, I liked his character right off the bat, but I did not see the twist coming from, like him becoming intimidating towards the end. Obviously, he always had that diehard loyalty for Fisk, but then, like, once he was given some power, he backed it up.
I mean, he's always been a D1 Glazer. I mean, it was kind of hard to watch at the start.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just eating Fisk up. But yeah, I always figured he'd eventually become evil. So watching him still be a Glazer, but using the glaze as his motivation to be evil, you know what I mean? Was fun. Was fun to watch.
Oh, actually, before I lose the thought though, you brought up Spider-Man. Have you guys seen how this is like leaving everybody like, where is Spider-Man during all of this?
Yeah. It is a little too large.
It's it's one of my big problems with Daredevil Born Again that I haven't had with the previous 3 seasons is the problems have been small enough. Right, the hand got dealt with by the defendants. Right, Kingpin in the first season, he's just buying up buildings and he's a bad guy, killing a couple of people. Right, and in season 3, he takes over the FBI. Right, these are small potatoes.
FBI small potatoes.
But statewide New York blackout.
With
the amount of heroes that are in New York and that they're killing people just in the street and then putting beanies over their face and going, "This is a masked vigilante." Like. I do. That is a problem I have. And I know legally you can't do Spider-Man. And I brought up Doctor Strange. A lot of people pointed out that Doctor Strange is dealing with an incursion with Clea. Yeah. So, okay, take them out. Where's Kate Bishop? Where's Miss Marvel? You have established there are so many.
And Wong could technically.
Where's Wong? There are so many superheroes in New York. I don't even need you to show them to me. Show me the news report where you see the grainy footage of them solving the day.
That would have been something.
Somebody pointed out, like, just show somebody in a Punisher vest webbed up to a lamp pole. You do not need to show me the character. Just show me that they are doing something. That
makes sense.
Because it was on top of how small the problems were in the previous 3 seasons.
Yeah.
You also have like less connection to the MCU, right? In season 1, if somebody was flying around with a metal suit or a magic hammer, I would feel differently. But this guy, in a jumpsuit, right? You have like little things like that connected, and then calling the events of Avengers 1 the event in Daredevil. But you never connected it as much as having Kamala Khan's dad saying, Jersey has our very own superhero, Miss Marvel. Like you never connected it more than now. That's why I need it more as well.
No, I completely agree with that. And you're 100% right. You don't even need to show the actual character. If somebody was webbed up, like, you're not going to get flagged for that with like licensing and stuff like that. And that would have been a perfect way to show, oh, hey, Spider-Man is doing something.
I saw a tweet that said Spider-Man's broke ass just thought he forgot to pay the power bill.
That's funny.
Yeah, and when he said, oh, we need an army, we need a team, and then, we get the reveal of, Cherry, and like I was expecting a little something more, as I'm sure a lot of people were. Yeah. Andrew, I feel like Cherry, you really liked Cherry those first 2 episodes.
No, he sucks. No, he sucks. Yeah, it was the Heather effect. Like, I really liked Cherry. I liked I just liked the way he was our little detective, our little pit bull that would go and do stuff for us, and he's kind of the one who knew. I liked his attitude. But then it was just like, like, I get having characters in Matt's life that are a little more anti-vigilante and not okay with his Daredevil side or a little more wary of it. That's good to balance him out. But if you're gonna have characters that like Heather, who like literally gets saved, and she's like, Muse and Daredevil are the same person.
Right.
Frick you. That's fine because they eventually made her like kind of fully evil. She basically like heard her boyfriend say, Fisk is evil, like you need to trust me, and the very next thing she does is goes and works for him. Frick you, right? Okay, but Cherry's still like on our side, and his only response to this girl being alive because we saved her from Muse is to complain. Shut up. Yeah, I will not like you.
I have so much less of a problem with that than Andrew does. Like, just like from a writing perspective, my problem with it is who the F is Cherry? Like, actually, like our first introduction to him is the first episode of Daredevil Born Again. And we immediately see it be revealed to him that Matt is Daredevil. That reveal has no weight to me because I have no idea who he is. I do not understand his relationship with Matt, and I do not understand his relationship with Daredevil. I've said this before on the podcast. If that was Brett Mahoney, he has a relationship with both Daredevil and Matt, where if this moment happened with Brett Mahoney, where he's being helpful the whole season and we love him the whole season, and then he has a different reaction to Matt becoming Daredevil again, I understand it more. But because I do not know who this guy is at all, that's my problem with that scene. And that's my problem with his character, because I do not understand why he is upset. Because Andrew brings up this great point where like people are alive and bad people are on the run and then subsequently dead because he comes back as Daredevil. And Cherry, the cop, whose job was literally to make sure people were alive and bad people were on the run or dead, like, just because Matt did it a little differently than you, like, you have the same goal. I don't know, was Cherry's son killed by a masked vigilante? I don't know why he has this hatred, because there's no depth whatsoever to this character. That's my issue with it, where it's like, if you could have told, I'm totally for, like Andrew said, people in his life that don't want him to be Daredevil. But this guy that I know nothing about is not a good way to show that, because I don't know anything about him, and it doesn't make any sense to me or Andrew that he would have a problem with this situation.
Why didn't they bring back Mahoney?
That would have been a perfect character. But am I right? Didn't Matt say that he worked with him when he was still on the Force, Cherry?
Yeah,
I guess, but
he worked with him. Like he helped. He said he helped him get a rest or something like that. But
it's still like off-screen shit that we don't.
No, I don't know if that was off-screen. I think.
No, I'm saying that's off-screen shit that we don't.
No. But I'm just saying. What we do know, the little that we do know about this character, we clearly, like, they emphasize that, you know, he's worked with Daredevil in the past and helped get a rest, help get people off the streets, and then now he has a bigger problem with it. So even the little bit of motivation that we do have right now doesn't really make sense.
He hates blind people, I think.
Clearly.
He liked Daredevil until he found out he was blind.
You're right. Andrew, you're on something.
Yeah, Cherry's a jerk, I'm telling you.
You're cooking.
He's blind phobic.
Disabled phobic.
His least favorite character in Atlas, probably Toph.
Yeah, he would hate Toph, dude. Yeah, don't let him watch Avatar.
Were you guys satisfied with the amount of Punisher that we got in this series?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
If it was just that little cameo in the middle, I was going to be pissed. But
no, I definitely wanted him to come back. Yeah, if it was just that, then I would say no.
So it's clear. It's very clear that he wasn't going to be in the original, and then they reshot the Punisher scene in episode 4, and then they clearly, episode 9, we know, was a creative overhaul episode as well. So clearly, like, I don't think he was supposed to be in this originally.
Which is crazy.
Which is why he's only in episode 4 and episode 9, because there is a whole storyline there with his character and the task force that in a Netflix show that has 13 episodes and, 50 to an hour long episodes, that you probably would have gotten more of there. I don't know why they're so afraid to go past 10 episodes. I mean, I know it's just not Disney Plus, but I mean, a lot of TV shows are afraid to go past 10 episodes these days. I don't know. That would have been something that I think that we saw in the Netflix show.
I loved Punisher in both appearances he had in the show. I have a hot take for this dais right now. I would have been fine with just his appearance in episode 4. I think his appearance in episode 4 is so excellent and so profound that if it would have been left at that, I would have been fine. I'm obviously thrilled he came back, but yeah, I would have been fine.
I mean, it was great, but at the end of the day, that was just like a small cameo. I was like, no, like, I feel like at this point, you know, Daredevil and Punisher go hand in hand. Like, if you're going to bring him back in a big way. I think they did it properly by bringing him back for episode 9 in the finale. And like, come on, how are you going to show us Punisher and not show him in action like that?
I don't know. You know, my 2 favorite seasons of Daredevil, and we said this on the podcast the other day, if all 3 seasons of Daredevil were considered MCU, which we don't consider them MCU, what we consider MCU is something made by Kevin Feige, and those seasons of television are not. But if those seasons count as MCU, season 3 and season 1 of Daredevil are my 2 favorite things that the MCU has ever done, if they count as MCU. And neither of those seasons have any Punisher whatsoever. He's not in either of those seasons at all. He's only in season 2 and then the subsequent seasons of Punisher. So as much as you are saying right now, where you're like, oh, Punisher and Daredevil, they go hand in hand and everything. To me, peak Daredevil doesn't include Punisher.
Hey, y'all weren't lying about season 3, boy. Ooh.
Dude, I still gotta go back and rewatch it.
Dude, you gotta rewatch it. It was so good. So either who or what was the best surprise for you about this season of Daredevil Born Again?
I mean, the Kingpin thing at the end is, if we're talking one scene, was, you know, really good. I don't know. I guess maybe how crazy the end scenario we ended up in became, because like you know he's going to become mayor. That happens the first couple. You know that from the trailers and everything. But like the fact that he fully went Kingpin again, and he's still mayor, and he's taking control of both. Like we also figured that was going to happen, but just like the amount that happened in the finale. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that was surprising. I didn't think it would go that large. Yeah.
What about you, Alex?
There are a couple. My most pleasant surprise is Daniel and Buck.
I was gonna say Daniel for me. Yeah,
I found Buck so uninteresting in the first couple of episodes, and Daniel I always found interesting, but I never obviously found him menacing or anything like that. But I've always felt that Daredevil, at least with Fisk's character, has been desperately trying to replace Wesley in an interesting way since season 1. I think there's no question in my mind that if the people that made Daredevil could go back from the way they treat season 2 and season 3 with the lawyers, and now in Born Again with Buck and Daniel, there's no question in my mind that they wouldn't have made the decision to kill Wesley. And I was clamoring only a couple weeks ago. I was like, just bring Wesley back. I don't think that many people would care. I really don't. Like, explain it. Some nonsense with Thanos and the blip. You've tied this to the MCU now. Like, just bring him back to life, because
like we accidentally brought him back.
Yeah, he's so much better than Buck or Daniel or the lawyers from season 3 and season 2 or whoever they tried to get to replace him. Or Bullseye, for that matter. Bullseye was a terrible Wesley.
Hey, you got to see Wesley at the premiere.
I know.
You said hey to him.
I went up to him. I said, I cried when they killed you. But so I was surprised at how much by the end of this season I enjoyed Daniel and Buck. I was shocked. I think that they both had really great seasons to shine.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, if not my favorite scene in the entire season, is Daniel threatening BB in episode 7 or 8. I thought that was one of the strongest scenes of the entire show. That's what I want. I love, like, because Daniel, like you said, Gandolfini is wonderfully charismatic, and even when he's the head glazer, he is like, he's fun. He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
So you pair that up where him fun and being silly and being the head glazer with also somebody that's like legitimately menacing.
Yeah.
There's something really unsettling about Daniel, that he does look like he's 15 years old. Like that's actually like genuinely unsettling, where he's sitting there and he's like, yeah, so like you're all gonna die if you don't do what we say. And and it's this face of like this 19-year-old kid. I think that's like really, really profound. I'm a big fan.
He's got this interesting smile to him too. It's just creepy.
It's playful. And
no, it's like scarier that he's threatening you while smiling at you like he's your best friend.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you know, if you don't do this,
then you're kind of screwed.
And the accent and stuff,
yeah. What do you see out there? Starbucks? Garrett, what was your best surprise?
Oh, best surprise. I thought was the question best or biggest surprise?
Biggest.
Oh,
whatever. I'm going to phrase it. It doesn't matter. It's the same question.
It does matter. It does matter because the biggest surprise to me was honestly episode 1. Killing Foggy.
Yeah.
That's definitely the answer. That's definitely the answer.
That was the biggest surprise. I'm not gonna say it was the best one though, because I was pissed they killed my boy Foggy. I mean, I was obviously disappointed to lose out on his character, but I think it worked well for the show. Alex, I know you were not happy about that at all, which I feel like is that still bringing down your rating of the show?
Yeah, of course. Especially because there's such a effort to replace him in the show,
right?
Between Kirsten and Sherry and pretty much every side character in the show feels like they're doing a cheap imitation of a previous character that we have 3 seasons worth of depth with, whether it's Karen or Brett Mahoney or Foggy. And I just, I still, it's part of the reason why I'm more critical of the post-overhaul team, because that's a post-overhaul decision. Pre-overhaul did not acknowledge Karen nor Foggy. And I said this on our episode that we filmed just a couple days ago. I am legitimately now of the opinion that I think I would have preferred if they didn't overhaul it and didn't acknowledge Karen or Foggy at all, because then you open yourself up. You would have gotten yelled at by the fans, and then you could just bring them back the next season. Now you've actually killed Foggy, and it's either you faked his death, which I think I would be excited about because I'd just be thrilled to have him back. But I think that a lot of people would feel like that was cheap. Maybe the gentleman to my right, and then depending on how well they did it, I don't know how well you could do with it at this point. You literally
how would you go about fake? How would you go about faking the death? Yeah, the heart stopped. Like, that's like proof that we have right there because we were seeing that with Matt's hearing. And then also, like, how would that even make sense story-wise? Like, we just found out in these last episodes that Vanessa was the one who ordered the hit. Bullseye is the one who carries it out. Why the hell would, Bullseye be in on a plan with Foggy to fake his death? Like, he's not going to be using blanks. And why would Foggy ever put his best friends through that? Unless it was like he was trying to fake his death to, try and, take himself out of danger with this dangerous case that he was working on and whatnot. But it turns out that case ended up going in the Fisk's favor, so that didn't work out.
I just don't know if you couldn't even acknowledge Karen and Foggy. That wouldn't have been good. Everyone would immediately just wrote the show off.
But I wrote the show off because they said that they were bringing them back, and that was such a big reason for the overhaul to happen at all, is that so many people were upset that they recast Vanessa and wrote off Foggy and Karen. Everything
that's crazy.
Overhaul fixes that. Okay, right, but you did write off Karen and you did write off Foggy. You just killed Foggy and sent her to San Francisco inexplicably. And she has this scene with Matt in episode 1, I'm pretty sure. Episode 1. And she's like, I'm going to San Francisco. It's quiet. It's better, whatever. She's like, I'm not coming back. I'm mad at you. And then inexplicably, episode 9, she's back. She doesn't apologize to Matt. She doesn't have any scene like that. She's just like, I heard you were in danger, and I sent Frank, and I came as soon as I can. He was in danger before.
Yeah.
Like, why? What changed? Like,
right.
Yeah.
So I told Garrett that we did like a quick review after the finale, and one thing I said about like Karen showing up, I was like, it was cool, but it didn't feel rewarded at all.
Yeah.
She just came up out of thin air, and
now she's back, and I'm thrilled
right.
that she's back because Deborah Ann Woll is so good. But Yeah, it is. And I liked the avocados at law moment, and they're laughing about the passage.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, like, but we could have just been doing this the whole time, or you could have saved this and not killed Foggy. Like, yeah.
That's tough. So you would say Foggy being killed would be your most disappointing part of the season. I mean, that's where I'm going to next for my next question is most disappointing part about the season.
That's yours.
Yeah. I know yours. Go. Yours is interesting.
What do you think it is? Yeah. When we did our review, I had I think it was 3 negatives that I love the show, but I'm not saying it's perfect or that's quote unquote the best. I just really enjoyed it personally. You know what I mean? So the 3 negatives that I had were the finale blue ball the F out of us, a little too much. I get cliffhangers, but calm down. It was a little disjointed. You can kind of feel that throughout the season in certain areas. And then my third one was, Muse. Muse is great, and he's a great mid-season villain. He's just too good to just be a mid-season villain.
You know, it's crazy. We've been talking for over half an hour, and we haven't even fucking brought up Muse.
Yeah.
That's how,
because he's not relevant to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
He's so great. The design of him is cool. The scenes that he's in is cool. The actor does a great job in the therapy session. The fight scene between the two of them is amazing. His death is amazing. It was just
super fast.
Yeah, it was too fast, and that sucked because I loved Muse so much. And
right.
So and also I've compared to his comics version.
So I was telling Garrett about his powers in the comics, and he was like, "Oh shit, they did nerf him then."
Yeah.
And I guess that progression would have been nice to see, because when we see Muse and Heather in that final therapy session, it seems pretty clear that he's been going to her for a while now.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like a first encounter for us.
Yeah. Well, it is. Yeah. I mean, we see him get the book signed, and then we don't see him without his mask on until then.
Right.
Yeah, why didn't we? They should have put him in the background of stuff. I feel it. So just how we have this little connection between Matt to Heather, Heather to Fisk, I feel like it would have been cool to have Muse in other parts of Matt's life. I don't know, just randomly show him here and there. I feel like that could have been cool. But yeah, definitely show us some of their other therapy sessions and show that they had an ongoing dialogue between Heather and Muse, and that way everything that he was doing in the city would have felt a lot more impactful now that we have inside look into his psyche. But
everyone on the internet has a way that we could have done Muse better in Daredevil Born Again. Everybody on the internet, everybody has a different idea, and guess what? They're all better than what they did in the show. But it is so nothing to me. Muse is so irrelevant to my enjoyment of the show, because the problem that everybody has with him is a problem that I have with, I think, every single aspect of the show, which is that you've got something really cool and really good, and it's because of the 2 different teams, and because there's no clear vision across the show. It's a little bit the Star Wars sequels in that way, that yes, Muse was hilariously undercooked. They didn't do his powers. There should have been more therapy sessions. We should have gotten his powers. He shouldn't have fought Daredevil, lost, and then fought Daredevil, tried to kill Heather, and died. That's a bad thing that they did. But I feel like they did that for everything. Hector Ayala was a fascinating part of the show. Okay, we're going to have this case, interesting case. He's going to win this case, and now he's dead. And who killed him? A Punisher impersonator. But we're not going to talk about that for 7 episodes, and then it's going to be one character that we barely know anything about, and then they probably killed him as well. And by the way, he's a more interesting character in the comics that had powers in the comics and doesn't have powers in this show. It's every single thing in this show is the same thing as Muse, and I get that everybody's complaining about Muse because he is so cool looking, but that's what they did with every single story beat in this show, is something interesting, something cool, and then it's just drastically undercooked. So I don't have the problem that everybody else has with Muse. I said this when they killed Muse in our episode. We filmed our review at CinemaCon, and I was just I don't care. I don't care if they killed Muse, because I feel like they've been doing this the whole show. Why would I care? It's clear that they only care about Matt and Kingpin. Like those are the only characters that they actually care about. They have put everything into those characters, and therefore those characters are the characters that shine. And goodness gracious, Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox are two of the best actors we've ever had the privilege of watching in any superhero property ever. Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox is one of the best superhero castings ever. Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin, is one of the best villain castings ever. So, and they killed it with those two characters. They absolutely knocked it out of the park. And that's why I'm talking all these negatives about this show. And I could still confidently give it a 7 out of 10 and maybe think I'm maybe too low on it because those characters are so good, right? That's what the show is.
Speaking of great casting too, I mean, Wilson Bethel as Bullseye's up there too now. Holy shit.
I agree.
He is so good. What were you gonna say, Garrett?
I kind of forget now. Two things actually. So we talked about how this, they can't really pick a direction, and honestly, I don't know. Do you think this show is kind of showing the bigger picture with the MCU? Because I feel like that this is an MCU problem, just not knowing what direction. I feel like that's why we loved, before and Endgame and everything. They had a clear direction of where they were going with every single movie, and ever since then, it's been like so wishy-washy. We never know what they're doing, man. We never know what they're doing. Kang was supposed to be our big bad. Now there's no Kang, and now it's Doom. And
see, but here's the thing:
they're bringing RDJ back as Doom, and it's like it's just there's character.
Sorry.
And like we see some characters that we love like a few years ago, like Shang-Chi. Everybody loves Shang-Chi. Where the heck has he been for like 5 years at this point? I don't even know. So I don't know. It's just like, when we get something good, it's like they're all thinking about the bigger picture too much that like they just muddy the waters. And because
I think there's a good big picture here though, but and if you need to have two separate directions within your cinematic universe, I'm completely fine with that as long as both of those directions are, got a clear path.
Yeah. And then what else does this say about, I don't want to talk too bad about Disney, but what else does this say that Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio being the best things? And those are the two things from the original show. It seems like everything new that they've added, those are the least interesting things that Daredevil Born Again has done. Also, but you said White Tiger didn't have powers. I think he does. They acknowledge he had powers.
No, he has powers,
Yeah.
No, he just thinks he was killed too fast.
No. The Victor Stone character that kills him has powers in the comic.
Okay.
The cop with the knife in his hand. Yeah.
Okay. All right, but that was it. All the new stuff that they brought, that's the stuff that people seem to not like the most when they're doing comic book characters. But
I heard what were you gonna say?
That's a great point that Garrett just made about it's the word is insecurity. The MCU is like a teenage girl that just got acne for the first time walking into school right now, when previously it was the MCU was the star softball player right at 11 years old.
Let's pick another sport.
He's trying to make it a woman.
Volleyball.
Taking every single swing they took it confidently.
Volleyball's a good pick.
Yeah.
Whether they missed or hit, right? Andrew hates Spider-Man Homecoming. Andrew hates Thor Ragnarok. Andrew hates Guardians 2. But they took those swings and they didn't go back on them. Guardians 3 isn't a retcon of Guardians 2. Thor Love and Thunder is not a retcon of Thor Ragnarok the way that Thor 5 will be a retcon of Thor Love and Thunder. There was so much confidence with the MCU, even when they took misses. The only time I could think of them changing a decision, going back on decisions, is Thor the Dark World to Thor Ragnarok is obviously completely different. That was a sign of their insecurity about that. Otherwise, it's completely consistent to the MCU. They make Spider-Man Homecoming. What do? They double down on it. Far From Home, right? You know what I'm saying? The MCU did not give an F what the audience thought about public opinion or any of that. They weren't insecure at all. And since Endgame has happened, they've been nothing but insecure and nothing but gone back on what they've done. And they're canceling projects left and right. There's a reason we still haven't gotten Blade. Eternals was set up like so many things for an Eternal sequel. We're never going to get an Eternal sequel. The Eternals aren't even in the next Avengers movie. They're just, and here it is. They were like, you know what? We're ditching the first 3 seasons of Daredevil. We're not even acknowledging them. No Karen, no Foggy. We're recasting Vanessa. We're doing a whole different thing. And then everybody on the internet yelled at them. 2017, 2018 MCU, we would have just gotten the pre-overhaul show. But because they're insecure, and obviously the Kang decision was a disaster. But that was them getting unlucky. That was a tough situation with John.
I don't know. It might be like a box office insecurity thing though too, because their movies aren't pulling in the numbers like they used to. Like, we'll have a Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness here and there that'll pull in 900 mil, but man, Brave New World, I think just made around over 400. The Marvels clearly didn't make back a profit. I mean, many other projects like that could also be the insecurities. Like, what are we trying to find here that's gonna work, that people are gonna want to see, and it can actually make us money? Because I mean, I still like streaming. I don't know how people make money off streaming, but like clearly, there is a lot of Disney Plus MCU shows streaming wise that have not made back its budget either. I mean, I'm sure Echo wasn't profitable. I'm sure.
I hope it wasn't.
There's
I'm
no
sure it wasn't
possible way Echo is profitable. I can guarantee you that without even looking at a statistic.
I'm sorry for yapping. This is the last thing I want to say.
No, keep yapping.
You just brought up Multiverse of Madness as a positive. You have to understand that Multiverse of Madness is one of the biggest, if not the biggest negative the MCU has ever had.
Well,
I am not high on it.
No.
Box office.
No. Box office, that movie was a failure. That is a fact. That movie, opening weekend, made $460 million. It is the second biggest post-COVID opening for a superhero movie, second only to No Way Home that made $500 million. It made $40 million opening box office, less than No Way Home. No Way Home is a top 10 highest grossing movie of all time, and it wasn't even released in China. Multiverse of Madness was released in China, made $40 million less opening weekend, and it did not gross $1 billion. That's because that movie is bad. Nobody rewatched it. It got the rumor that it was bad, and plenty of people didn't see it. If that movie was good, or even all it needed to be was a cameo fest, a la what we think Doomsday will be, and it would have made $1 trillion, like legitimately. Multiverse of Madness is one of the greatest failures the MCU has ever had, critically and at the box office. You cannot say that movie making $900 million, barely making double what it had opening weekend, that shows you where the hype was for that movie going into it based on what it had after. And obviously everybody talks about it extremely negatively.
So
I hear exactly what you're saying.
Like in the grand scheme of things, it should have made clearly over $1 billion because of what it was.
If it was a decent movie. I hear exactly what you're saying, but $900 million to Disney is still $900 million. Like, I mean, I think the only point that he was trying to make is that just it made money. It did make money.
In terms of post-COVID, it was one of the more profitable projects that they've had.
But it lost the public's trust with Disney. And so how much did Thor Love and Thunder make off of the back of Multiverse of Madness? How did the Marvels do? Didn't the Marvels lose $200 million? You think so?
The two that he did mention, Brave New World and the Marvels just not even a good movie, not enjoyable.
Disagree.
I think it's better than Brave New World.
I agree completely.
The Marvels?
Yep.
Yeah.
The one with the villain we can't even remember?
What's the name of the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 villain?
Ronan.
Thank you very much.
He knows it. He knows. Here's the thing. Guardians has always had the weakest villains, but they've had the best movies because they care about the characters.
I care about the Marvels. I love Aman Vellani.
No. I think the Marvels was better than Brave New World. I do.
It was Ronan.
Ronan the Accuser, nice work.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
But
what was Guardians 2?
We remember him because the movie is good, not because he's that great.
I'm not saying he's a memorable villain, but
he's the same quality villain as Dar-Ben from the Marvels. They're the same.
I couldn't even tell you that name. I'm amazed you remember.
That's fine. Yeah.
But
Guardians is a way better movie.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And who?
I like the
who's the Guardians 2 villain? Ego. Great movie.
Ego's great.
The Guardians 2 villain is how bad the comedy is.
It's not.
That was a good take.
Thank
I
you.
like
Why
that
is
a lot.
why is
I love
why
that.
is the
That's
comedy?
most I've liked you in a minute.
Oh my
Wait,
god,
I can
man.
see it like settling, like seeping into your brain. You're like, oh,
Name a specific joke that you hate so much from
the third time Drax mentions a penis for no reason.
How about
Groot.
everything with Baby Groot is awful in that
He was
movie.
so cute.
He goes from the best part of Guardians 1 to the worst by far in Guardians 2.
No.
I
Here,
would
buy
not
this
agree
toy.
with you on
Buy this toy. You see this toy? You need to buy this toy.
Yeah, it was 100%. They were trying to sell toys, but
At least
Stitch toy is
Grogu
about to
was
break the
likable.
bank as well too.
Dude, Stitch.
Oh,
Stitch is
God,
about to become
yeah.
the new Mickey Mouse.
Stitch,
He's gonna be-
dude. I think he looks fantastic for the live action.
Oh, he looks great.
yeah,
He looks
it
so
looked really
great.
good.
And it's crazy because I feel like Lilo and Stitch is gonna make the live action is gonna make bank.
Yeah.
Which is good because like the animated one, obviously we know it didn't do well. Got
Oh,
left
yeah.
behind.
But
All
it's
right,
beloved.
fuck. Where was I heading?
I don't know. Where were you heading?
We were talking about
We were talking-
before
we
we,
were talking
went
about
on this
peak.
tangent. We were talking about the insecurity of the MCU right now.
Insecurity. Dude,
Yeah.
I heard a crazy take last night from a friend. He said Daredevil Born Again, this season of Daredevil Born Again was better than any 3 seasons of the Netflix show.
Jesus, who said that?
I'm not gonna put out names.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
why
But
would
it's
we do
our-
that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel
we
like they need
shouldn't
to
do
be
that.
ridiculed.
Yeah.
Wait,
That's a crazy
That'd be bad.
take.
no. No.
Okay, so I said this on our episode. Listen to me. I make a very so normally when I try to review something, I try to combine like objectively good stuff, like how well the writing, is, like how cohesive it is, the acting, stuff like that, and then just my personal enjoyment. For this one, I decided to completely separate them. If I'm
Mhm.
going to rank the seasons based on how like good they are in terms of quality, I think I go 2 Born Again, 1 3.
Okay.
But in terms of like just personal enjoyment, how much I just had fun with them, I go 2 1 3 Born Again.
What?
You had the most fun.
But I can
Yeah.
easily flip the coin on 3 and Born Again. And also I watched season 1 when it came out like a decade ago, so I do need to rewatch it.
Yeah.
But I adore all 4 seasons.
Right.
But yeah, I have to separate those two completely because I like I said, I have 3 problems with Born Again. I recognize the problems that it has. I just really had fun with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that they didn't use the church enough in this season for Matt with his character and
That was a big problem for Blake.
Really?
yeah.
It could have been a little bit more. I think the times they do use it. I think it would have been worse if it was just like absent completely. He obviously does have the
Almost
scene.
was.
There's a couple times where he's like praying with the Foggy thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the scene where he's listening outside of a church and that kind of represents how he's fallen. He doesn't feel like he's even worthy to go inside, but he's still listening. I like that they put that in there. And then the scene where he's literally
That's
saving the
more.
girl, and they're like, and his prayer is happening like during or after the Muse fight scene.
Yeah.
And he's saying that prayer, and it's like in connection with Foggy and how I thought that scene was amazing. So the couple times they use it, I thought it was really, really good, even if might have should have been in there like a couple more times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because with the take that that I just talked about from a friend, he said, yeah, all that character dialogue stuff is great that we get in the original Netflix show, but they do it because the show is hindered by its lower budget and they have to fill it in with character dialogue. But I'm like, it's fucking amazing. That's what you want in a TV show, at least for me. And that's why you have 13 episodes, so you can have those extenuous, great character moments and even full-length character episodes like the Karen episode. I don't know how people feel about that one, but like, I don't know, those talks, those dialogue conversations in the church and everything.
I mean, that's one of the reasons. I mean, I think Born Again still has some of that. I mean, that's why people love episode 4, the talk between Punisher and Matt, and that's one of the best scenes in the MCU is that conversation. So yeah, no diss to those types of scenes. I think the only times those become a problem is one of the complaints in Born Again is like he's not Daredevil enough. I think I have that problem with all Daredevil seasons, especially like season 3. Like we talked about this. I think the start of it's kind of slow, where he's just like they don't even explain. Like you have to have seen the Defenders finale to know why he's like dead, basically.
Yeah.
So the whole season starts with I haven't seen Defenders, so the season just starts with a completely nerfed Matt in the bottom of a church.
Yeah.
Just talking about how everything sucks for like multiple episodes. That's one of the reasons why like I think the second half of season 3 is like a 15 out of 10 and better than Born Again. And I had a lot of fun with it. But
but why is that? Because of the nice slow burn in the beginning of the season. I think
you could have I think you could have done that a little bit better.
Do you guys think the root of all these problems simply comes down to the fact that we only have 9 episodes in a season? Because honestly, I feel like a lot of the problems you're talking about pacing, we're talking about characters not fleshed out enough. And just like not exploring enough around Matt and Kingpin. It's just Matt and Kingpin. And all this could be solved if we had like 4 more episodes at the least to, flesh out some of these characters and solve some of these pacing problems.
It is kind of crazy how quick this came and went.
Yeah, like bro, Muse, like that could have used another 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think I don't know if all the problems would have been solved, but I think
a lot of them.
Yeah, I think it would have helped.
I mean, so now that we'll have the same creative team for all of season 2, do you definitely, maybe I'll ask Alex this question since he was lower on it, now that we have the same creative team through season 2, they have the idea of the tone and everything, the direction, would you have more faith now in season 2 to be better?
I have more faith in season 2 to be better, and I think season 2 will easily be better. That being said, most of a point that you guys just made is that he's not Daredevil enough in any season. I completely agree with Andrew, except for season 1. He's Daredevil in season 1 every single episode. Yeah, it isn't the proper suit until the finale, but it is the black, and he fights a Nobu. He fights plenty of Kingpin goons. He's got 1 or 2 fight scenes per episode in Daredevil season 1. But what I wanted to say is one of my main highlights for Daredevil Born Again is Charlie Cox as Daredevil and is Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. And both of them are coming back. Obviously, they're both going to be huge parts of this second season. And I think that it'll be great because they're great. And I got to tell you, those leaked photos of that black suit.
Oh,
I mean, sexy.
It's so
that
sexy.
Should be his full-time look. That they shouldn't go back to the red after that. That's the best suit they've ever put Charlie Cox in by far.
That's Daredevil Born Again, bro. That's the new and improved Daredevil.
Garrett, when the blackout happened in the finale, Garrett was like, "Ooh, are we going to see the black suit?" I'm like, "Well, it would make sense at the blackout. He needs to be stealthy." But I was like, "No, we're not going to see it this finale." So I'm super excited for season 2. It comes out March of next year. It's good. I'm excited.
Yeah, we don't have to wait 3 years for season 2. I like that too.
Yeah. Where's Moon Knight?
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Not getting a second season of Moon Knight is criminal.
You're a big Moon Knight fan?
I thought Moon Knight was great. I thought that was one of the better MCU shows.
I know me and Garrett are definitely in the minority on Moon Knight.
Yeah. I don't know why. I thought it was a great, unique show. Like I love the way. I love the way that Mark didn't know what was happening. I
think because people were probably what we get from Born Again in terms of TVMA, the gruesomeness. That's what people were hoping for from Moon Knight.
They were hoping for a lot from Moon Knight that they didn't get.
You just pointed out that Mark, or is it Mark? No, it's Steven that doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, Steven didn't know. Yeah,
Steven doesn't know what's going on in Moon Knight. Neither did I. Did you? You know what was going on in Moon Knight? No, neither did I.
Wait. But you love WandaVision, don't you?
Yeah.
You didn't know what was going on in the first 2 episodes of that, did you?
Yeah, but those questions were interesting. Not, this is a Moon Knight show. They take how many episodes to get to Egypt? 2? At the end of episode 2, you see that he's in Cairo. It's that show moved so slowly for a 6-episode season. It was actually heinous.
Okay, again, you're working with a 6-episode season, so my expectations can't be too crazy high. I hated the 6-episode format. It drove me nuts, and they did it for everything.
I do want to say I am extremely happy for you that you loved Moon Knight.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's like the most condescending way to be like.
No, I know. Fucking patronizing the shit out of me.
Oh my God.
I'm happy you're an idiot. That you like this. It's so funny.
God.
Is this the best MCU show? Live action?
Yes.
It's not even close.
It's not even close. You're correct.
It's not even close. Loki season 1 is better. WandaVision is better. X-Men 97 and Spider-Man are both better.
Well, he said live action.
Well, he did say live action.
Oh, okay. Then yeah.
I think WandaVision and Loki you can consider to be close. I still have Born Again above it. Everything else is not even close.
I think Hawkeye is better as well.
No.
Hawkeye is not better than this.
I'll definitely agree on Loki for sure.
I'll give you Loki. Maybe
I would even give you WandaVision. I think.
I enjoy WandaVision more than Blake does. I think.
What? I love WandaVision.
All right. I thought I had it higher than you, but
WandaVision does what Daredevil Born Again does, and all the MCU shows seem to do, which is has a disappointing finale.
Right.
But WandaVision is so great until those last 2 episodes that I can keep it as it's still good.
You know what I'm still so pissed about with WandaVision though? Like this again is with the MCU not following up on shit these days. Gray Vision. What happened to him? I was so intrigued by that whole thing. And
we are getting a series though.
Oh, when?
What, 10 years later? My God.
Vision Quest, yeah. Part of the reason is because they keep asking Elizabeth Olsen to come back and she keeps saying no. Did you see her on that podcast the other day?
No.
I didn't.
It was brutal. It was brutal.
Really?
If you hear her talk about Marvel and the MCU pre and post Multiverse of Madness, that's another reason why that movie is so bad for the MCU.
Ooh, no.
It killed her experience for the MCU. She's talking about it with this girl, and she's like, I do not like the Marvel movies. So when I make art, I don't want that to be what I'm remembered for. I'm trying to she's literally, she doesn't say this word for word, but she's like, I'm trying to separate myself from that. I'm trying to make real stuff now. I don't want, she was like, I want to make stuff that I would watch and I would never watch the MCU. She essentially says that.
Wow. But you can have that great balance. Cause I think I'm pumped for Thunderbolts, and I think the Thunderbolts cast is the most non-MCU cast that we've gotten. And I think Sebastian Stan and Florence Pugh, dude, they have done an amazing job at still being in the MCU and remembered as, for those characters, especially Winter Soldier.
Andrew Garfield too.
Yeah, Andrew
Garfield. He's a good job of being Spider-Man, but he's done plenty. Tick Tick.
Oh,
Boom.
yeah. No, I mean, Tick Tick Boom I didn't like, but that's one other thing. I know I wasn't high on it.
I haven't seen it either.
No, I wasn't high on it. But no, I agree. Fantastic. Yeah, amazing. So you can still be remembered for amazing projects outside of the MCU. So, I mean, maybe it's just the experience that she's had outside of the MCU, getting some better movies. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think that's her problem. I think she quite literally said her problem is the MCU. She doesn't like the direction the MCU is going.
Yeah, but he's saying he wants to be more artistic. Then go. Yes. If you want to be remembered for some artistic crap, go be in some good artistic crap.
Yeah.
Well, she did that show Love and Death that nobody watched, and she did that movie with Jeremy Renner, Wind River. That's actually pretty good, but nobody watched.
See, I think this is where people kind of don't see how important it is, at least from an audience perspective, a general audience perspective, how important it is for these actors to get paired with a great director.
Sam Raimi is a great director. Multiverse of Madness is still garbage.
Yeah, and a lot of people think Sam Raimi cooked. I mean, he always cooks with the visuals, but again, the story, I was one who was not huge on Multiverse of Madness, and I was in the minority there, and I'm the story, I didn't give a fuck about the story.
No, who the fuck cares about America Chavez? I was didn't care.
I actually think you're homophobic, Garrett.
Oh. He probably also hates blind people.
Yep. You could have just went racist.
Was America gay? I didn't even remember that.
She's got gay parents, and I think she's gay as well.
I did.
You could have went a lot of directions.
Because her parents are gay now.
On her jacket, and she is gay in the comics.
Now you're just ignorant.
She's an ally.
She's gay because her parents are gay. He thinks it's genetic.
She's gay in the comics. If they changed her from not being, if they made her in the MCU and she wasn't gay, people would riot.
Oh yeah.
I genuinely did not even remember that about her character.
No, don't worry about it. It was clearly a joke.
Oh, I know you were.
Oh, so gay people are a joke?
Yep.
Garrett's
just sexist now.
I'm every
collect him like Infinity Stones, this guy.
Oh my god. Oh my god,
right.
dude. Andrew, I still think about that video where you were just trapping Alex where you're
What are you
Mary kill. Oh my god, I love that video so much, you guys.
Good stuff.
Well, I will say this. It has been a great year for television so far. I mean, Invincible season 3, peak. We got Daredevil Born Again, Severance. Severance was great. Fucking Andrew didn't have to wait 3 years for that second season.
Neither did he.
Neither did I.
Neither did I. Blake was there.
Dude, I was the only one. That was rough.
Andor next week.
Andor.
So first of all, congratulations for going to the premiere, Alex. I know that was a big deal for you.
Thank you.
And then you've been huge on Andor since the beginning. Garrett, I know you love Andor.
Andor's great.
I still haven't seen it.
What the frick?
I know.
You watched it a week ago.
Yeah, but I watched it. I watched it.
He watched it. He got the invite to the premiere and said, "Okay, you know what? I need to watch it."
I finished the show, but
I feel like that's
you gotta watch it
the
before
shows
season 2
Andrew
comes out.
watches.
I did my job. I watched it before season 2 came out. You haven't done your job. You know what I mean?
I haven't done my job. But no, yes.
Blake, you want to know Andrew's score on Andor season 1?
What was it?
9.5. 9.5 to 10.
Oh, I've only heard great things about it.
Yeah. No.
Alex,
it's
if I'm not
incredible.
mistaken,
it's actually incredible.
If I'm not mistaken, Alex, you said it's like the best Star Wars project. Do you think, besides like A New Hope?
It's certainly the best, other than the first 2 movies.
Right.
But I think the first 2 movies are still clearly better.
Yeah. So I was saying, like, it's unbelievably. It's just good. Like, it's crazy how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is a little like it has blasters and stuff, but there's no Jedi, there's no Force, there's no lightsabers. So there's a lot. There's a lot of things that are Star Wars that are not in this show. So it's like impossible for me to not put New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, which has the Death Star and Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean? Those are definitely going to still be number 1, and they're just that good. But then after that, my top 5 would be those 2: Andor, Revenge of the Sith, Mando. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you'd think Blake would start listening to me about the shows I try to put him on at this point. When I put him on Invincible, I put him on Avatar. I put him on Daredevil, bro. I swear. You'd think he would start listening to me at a certain point.
Wait, keep listening. The Boys.
The Boys I put him onto.
About to be Andor. When he finally watched it.
About to be Andor. I told him about Andor when it came out. Didn't want to listen to me then. And he's going to watch it, and he's going to be an Andor glazer. I guarantee it.
If he's not, I'll come over and punch him.
Please do.
If you want to.
It drives me nuts, man. He just does not want to listen to me.
Look, Garrett gives me the TV shows. I'll give him the movies. I did tell him to watch Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, Severance. I did put him on that stuff. So I mean,
Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, it's like the same thing. I don't know if we count that as 2 shows.
Everyone is so hesitant to go ahead and start Better Call Saul for some reason. Like, they'll finish Breaking Bad and then they're like, yeah, maybe I'll watch it or start it. It's better than Breaking Bad.
All right. Any other? I'm about to have to jet. Any other Born Again things we want to tackle real quick in the next few minutes?
I'm all set on Born Again. So we got 9.5 out of 10 from Andrew, 7 out of 10 from Alex. Honestly, after all this talking, I could even go 8 out of 10, but I'll keep it in the 8 to 8.5 range. Garrett, high 8 out of 10.
Stick with 8.7. That's fine.
Okay. Overall, I'm very happy that we do have Daredevil back. I think this is like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, we have him back.
That's the positive that we can all take away from this.
This is Marvel, right? This is Marvel as Daredevil. So thankfully,
if Marvel gives us Born Again, which I know a lot of people are like all over the place, but most people are still, even with the problems, somewhat positive on it, and they love Daredevil. Yeah. And some people absolutely love it. So I think that's a win overall for them. If they give us Born Again and then Thunderbolts cooks and looks good, and then they give us Fantastic Four,
we could be back.
I hate to be devil's advocate here.
Do you?
No.
Yeah, I feel like you want to say whatever you're about to say.
But let's think about this for a second, okay? We're going to the Thunderbolts premiere on the 28th, which is very exciting. But we are getting to see the movie on the 22nd. Okay, that's this Tuesday. Okay, first of all, Tuesday's a busy day. We've got a Lakers game, a Panthers game, Andor and Thunderbolts. That's a crazy day.
God.
Man, what a tragedy. I'm so sorry for you.
But think about this. They are showing Thunderbolts to people on the 22nd. Reactions are allowed the 23rd.
They're confident.
The premiere is the 28th. Reviews are the embargo gets lifted the 29th. This is the earliest an embargo has been lifted for a MCU film since Guardians 3. They are really confident in this one, okay? Listen to me seriously right now. What if it's bad? If it is bad, the MCU, can you imagine how insecure they're going to be? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
But if Fantastic Four lands with characters as big as Fantastic Four, then I think they'll be okay.
Yeah,
because
Fantastic
realistically,
Four is the one that matters.
Yeah,
but
they need F4 to succeed.
Thunderbolts, this is the one they're like banking on. I haven't seen them this confident about a movie in years.
Yeah,
it's a lot of big stars they got in this one, though. Honestly, like, bro, when you're working with actors as talented that they have for Thunderbolts, it's like if you flop that's all on you.
No, Garrett's cooking. It is interesting. Yeah. The last thing I want to say about Thunderbolts, it is interesting. I remember when they revealed that at like D23 or Comic-Con. It was a couple of years ago. I remember everybody was like, why isn't Zemo in it? Why isn't this person in it? Why isn't this person in it? And that was the discussion about Thunderbolts. And now that we're getting the movie, everybody's like, oh, but they did announce like a hell of a cast and quite like a crew to make this movie. That like maybe this actually will be very good. And we're all just kind of tripping about not having Zemo in it.
Yes. No, my hopes are high. But that'll do it here for us. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Congrats on all your success. I mean it when I say no one is doing it like the Escape Pod podcast.
Aww.
So I'm sure you're already following them if you're listening to this episode, but make sure to check them out if you haven't.
Thanks.
You boys are doing the Lord's work.
We love you. We love y'all.
We love you guys too. We love you guys too.
Duck takes over here. Please come. I know, Blake, I'm seeing you soon, but please come visit the both of you sometime soon.
We will. We're going to really try to make it.
You're deep in wedding planning right now, so I know it's busy, but after the wedding, please come see us.
Dude, I think we might honestly I might fuck the wedding plans. I mean, not fuck the wedding plans, but No. Hey, that's still going on strong, baby. Don't make no mistake about that. But honestly, so I'll be there next month. I'm really trying to get us to get out there for Superman as well in the summer, and then Halloween party.
Oh yeah, we already had a meeting about it.
Yeah, need to be at the Halloween party.
All right, I gotta figure out a dope costume. Then I normally kind of pull my thing together like within the last week leading up to Halloween, but if I'm gonna go to y'all's, I gotta step it up a notch.
So looking forward to many more adventures this year with the Escape Pod. So thank you again, gentlemen.
Thank you
for joining us this episode.